Wow, great job, Ethan.
Beyond perfect.
That was really good. Yeah.
Yo, I'm on this week, right? We're calling, right?
Well,
Unfortunately, this is not a radio show, so
yeah,
we're not NPR.
You can't call in. I know. I'm sorry. I know you were looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know.
For the last time.
Oh, okay.
Well, all right.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye, Ethan. Bye. He gets more dramatic every week.
He gets so upset.
He goes, what?
I was going to tell him he didn't know how to read, but, I mean, I felt that might have crossed the line.
Yeah, you know what? Probably did.
That's tough.
At least we didn't tell him he smells.
You know, that's true.
Yeah.
There you go.
Like, if someone calls me smelly, that's the worst thing I could possibly...
That is, not even joking, one of my, greatest fears.
Is being smelly?
Yeah, because
yes.
I can't use perfume or, scented deodorant and stuff. And so I try, extra hard to, not smell bad. And
you just pray a lot.
A whole lot.
God's tired from hearing from you.
Literally, I'm like, please, God.
No smelly, no smell. No smell.
Please.
No smelly.
No smelly.
No smelly.
Yeah. So.
No smelly. But you know who probably does smell? Nick Allen from the best-selling book, Frindle.
That's his name?
Nick Allen, yes. That's his name.
I don't know why I thought his name was Frindle.
He's white. What do you expect, okay?
And that's a white person name.
That's a very white person name. Nick Allen. 2 first names.
Yeah, for real.
It's the whitest white person name. And this week, I'm the one with the annoying drink with ice.
Oh my gosh. Justice is served cold.
Delicious.
No.
Delicious.
Stop.
Yeah, so this week, like we said last week, we're reading Frindle. And that's it. We're reading Frindle. And we're not going to turn on sponsors for this episode. We're not going to put the thing on. So they can't sue us because we're not making any money off of this.
Okay. Man, I wish
we found a legal loophole.
We did it. This is not illegal. And this is a free audiobook. I don't know why they're complaining.
Really?
Is it?
This is just publicity.
Exactly.
Okay, so today we're reading Frindle by Andrew Clements. He was one of my favorite authors in elementary school. He was pretty cool.
What else did he write?
Well, he wrote the book about Average.
Uh-huh.
That book is just way inspirational. He also wrote... I don't think it's up there. Oh, well, he also wrote the book Lost and Found, which was my gosh darn favorite book in elementary school.
Lost and Found? Did they ever find it?
No, it's about twins, and, they move to a new school, and, there's only one of them on the roster, and on the first day of school, one of them is sick, so then they just, alternate days going to school.
I always wanted a twin so I could do that.
I wanted it so bad, yes.
Oh my God.
And then he wrote one called Troublemaker. Haven't read that one. And I guess, there's one in the back of this book, which, maybe we'll read that if we have the time.
Oh my gosh, I remember, kids authors used to do that. They'd put, the first chapter.
Yeah, Keeper's School, We the Children.
Okay.
Benjamin Pratt and the Keepers of the School. Of the is very, very tiny. Nice. We the Children.
We the Children.
It's We the People, but,
But, kids?
Kids.
Whoa.
What? A mastermind with a pen.
Don't even tell me that's real. You made that up.
I didn't make it up. It's right here in the picture.
Wow.
But anyway, this book, Frindle, let's just read the back of it.
Uh-huh.
Is Nick Allen a troublemaker?
Yeah, probably.
I mean, yeah, he has a name called Nick Allen.
He's white. I'd probably find him at Cracker Barrel.
He really just likes to liven things up at school, and he's always had plenty of great ideas. But it looks like Nick's days of the classroom shenanigans are over, thanks to his no-nonsense teacher, Miss Granger.
What? All of her lines we need to say
Be in
British
British?
accent.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is, until Nick learns an interesting tidbit about how words are created. This inspires the greatest plan yet. Invent a new word. From now on, a pen is no longer a pen. It's a Frindle.
11 out of 10. That was a good one.
That one was a good one. But what happens when the word starts to catch on? Around school, around town, suddenly Frindle doesn't belong to Nick anymore. The word is spreading, and there's nothing Nick can do to stop it.
He needs to, like, copyright it or something.
He makes bank.
Dude, every time...
Spoiler alert! He makes bank.
Wait, really?
Yes!
What the heck?
I read this, like, a few weeks ago.
What? I thought you...
Before the podcast.
Oh, okay.
Like, before we said it on the podcast.
Oh,
That's
okay,
what
okay.
prompted it. I was
That's
like, I
right,
read
yeah.
this book, Frindle.
That's right.
It's crazy. This is
spoiling.
shenanigans. This thing is shenanigans.
It's shenanigans.
Do you want to just get into it?
Let's just jump into it.
Okay, we're gonna switch off every chapter, and then you guys vote in the comments down below who is more illiterate.
I cannot read out loud.
I can't read. It makes me anxious reading out loud.
Me too, because, like, my brain goes faster than I can speak. Like, I can read really, really fast, but then when I try and speak, I just, like, I can't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it makes me uncomfortable. So this is how we're gonna get over our fear of reading.
Oh.
Together.
Together. Oh, my goodness.
Okay, so I'm gonna read the first.
So we can just...
Yeah, okay.
Can you hear her?
Can you hear that, guys? Can you hear this?
No. Stop.
Let me get some pre-reading.
Oh.
Y'all like that?
We need to do an ASMR podcast.
We do. That's on the list. Okay. Chapter 1. I need to finish chewing this ice.
Okay.
Are you excited for this book?
I'm excited. I always saw it as a kid. Like, I saw that it existed, and I always thought, like, dang, I want to read that because that's such a cool idea. And I never did.
You never did. Okay.
So now I can.
Chapter 1. Nick. If you ask the kids and the teachers at Lincoln Elementary School to make 3 lists, the really bad kids, the really smart kids, and the really good kids, Nick Allen would not be on any of them. Nick deserved a list of his very own, and everyone knew it. Was Nick a troublemaker? Hard to say. One thing's for sure. Nick Allen had plenty of ideas, and he knew what to do with them. One time in 3rd grade, Nick decided to turn Miss Devers? How would you say that?
Denver.
There is no N in that word, but
I made it.
I'll bite. Miss Denver's room into a tropical island. What kid in New Hampshire isn't ready for a little summer in February?
I know I am.
So first he got everyone to make small palm trees out of green and brown construction paper and tape them onto the corners of each desk. Miss Denver had only been a teacher for about 6 months, and she was delighted. That's so cute! That's what Miss Denver sounds like, by the way. She doesn't stick around long, so
Oh, that's all right.
I can keep it up. The next day, all the girls wore flowers in their hair, and all the boys wore sunglasses and beach hats. Miss Denver clapped her hands and said, "It's so colorful!" The day after that, Nick turned the classroom thermostat up to 90 degrees with a little screwdriver he had brought from home. Holy crap!
Nick, you gotta chill.
All the kids changed into shorts and t-shirts with no shoes, and when Miss Denver left the room for a minute, Nick spread about 10 cups of fine white sand all over the classroom floor.
Nick.
Oh my god. Miss Denver was surprised again at just how creative her students could be. But the sand got tracked down the hall where Manny, the custodian, did not think it was creative at all. He stomped right down to the office. The principal followed the trail of sand, and when she arrived, Miss Denver was teaching the hula to some kids near the front of the room.
Miss Denver's getting fired.
A tall, thin, shirtless boy with chestnut hair was spiking a Nerf volleyball over a net made from 6 t-shirts tied together. The 3rd grade trip to the South Seas ended suddenly. But what didn't stop Nick from trying to liven things up? Lincoln Elementary needed a good jolt once in a while, and Nick was just the guy to deliver it. About a year later, Nick made the greatest blackbird discovery. What?
Huh?
I don't get that. Oh, it's about blackbirds.
Oh.
One night he learned on the TV that the red-winged blackbird gave this high-pitched chirp when a hawk or something other dangerous. What the fudge?
Chill.
When a hawk or some other danger comes near. Because of the way the sound travels, the hunter birds can't tell where the high-pitched chirp is coming from. The next day, during silent reading, Nick glanced at his teacher, and he noticed that Miss Avery's nose was curved, kind of like the beak of a hawk. Nick let out a high, squeaky blackbird peep. Miss Avery jerked her head up from her book and looked around. She couldn't tell who did it, so she just said shh to the whole class. A minute later, Nick did it again, louder. Peep! He should have just left out the P.
Yeah,
P! Rewrite. P! This time there was a little giggling from the class, but Miss Avery pretended not to hear the sound. About 15 seconds later, she slowly stood up and walked around the classroom. Without taking his eyes off his book and without moving it at all, Nick put his heart and soul in the highest, most annoying chirp of all. Pee! Miss Avery pounced. Janet Fisk, you stop that this instant. Janet, who was sitting 4 rows away from Nick, promptly turned white and bright crimson. But it wasn't me, honest. There was a catch in Janet's voice as if she might cry. Miss Avery knew she had made a mistake, and she apologized to Janet. No, Janet did it.
It's Janet.
Janet did. I don't believe
Janet
that for a
guilty.
second.
She's guilty.
But someone is asking for trouble, said Miss Avery, looking more like a hawk every second. Nick kept reading, and he didn't make a peep. At lunchtime, Nick talked to Janet. He felt bad that Miss Avery had pounced on her. Pounced. There's that word again. Shut up, Andrew.
Andrew's too fancy.
Mr. Clements. Janet lived in Nick's neighborhood, and sometimes they played together. She was good at baseball. She was better than soccer than most of the kids in the whole school, boys or girls. Funny that he had to specify.
Yeah. Why can't you just be good at soccer?
Idiot. Nick.
If
you ask him for his pronouns, here... We have to do that at the end. How each character
God,
will respond if you ask him. Okay, well, we'll do that at the end. Okay. Hey, Janet, I'm sorry you got yelled at during reading. It was my fault. I was the one who made the sound. You did? Said Janet. But how come Miss Avery thought it was me? Nick told her about the blackbirds, and Janet thought it was pretty interesting. Then she tried to make a peep or two, and Janet's chirps were even higher and squeakier than Nick's. She promised to keep everything a secret. For the rest of Nick's 4th grade year, at least once a week, Miss Avery heard a loud peep from somewhere in the classroom sometimes. Sometimes it was a high-pitched chirp, and sometimes it was a very high-pitched chirp. Miss Avery never figured out who was making that sound, and gradually she trained herself to ignore it. But she still looked like a hawk. To Nick, the whole thing was just one long and successful science experiment, and Janet Fisk enjoyed it too. I ship it.
You know what? They're kind of cute together. Oh my gosh, it's my turn?
It is so your turn.
All right, chapter 2, Miss Granger.
No, Miss Granger.
Miss Granger. Sorry about that. I have such a bad British accent. When I was a kid, I thought it was really good. But, all right, 5th grade was different. That was the year to get ready for middle school. 5th grade meant passing classes. Oh, no.
They working.
5th grade is difficult. Are you for real?
Sorry.
Anyway, it meant no morning recess. It meant real letter grades on your report cards. But most of all, it meant Miss Granger.
This is what communism is.
For real.
This is communism.
This is communism, guys. There's no iPhones here. There were about 150 kids in the 5th grade, and there were 7 5th grade teachers, 2 math, 2 science, 2 social studies, but only 1 language arts teacher. In language arts, Miss Granger had a monopoly, a reputation. No, this is capitalism right here.
This is never mind. Communism is when iPhone.
Come on, guys. Miss Granger, I'm just going to do it for her dialogue.
Yeah, just do it.
I'll try. Lived alone in a tidy little house in the older part of town. She drove an old pale blue car to school every morning. I want that car. Rain or shine, snow or sleet, hail or wind, she had a perfect attendance record that stretched back farther than anyone could remember.
I hope she dies.
Me too. Come on. Her hair was almost white. She's on the brink of death, man.
Guys, I can't wait.
Swept away from her face and up into something like a nest on the back of her head. Unlike some of the younger women teachers, she never wore pants to school. She had 2 skirt and jacket outfits, her gray uniform and her blue uniform, which she always wore over a white shirt with a little cameo pin at the neck. She's dripping. And Miss Granger was one of those people who never sweats. What?
How?
It had to be over 90 degrees before she even took off her jacket. What a baller. I talk too much. She was as small as teachers go. There were even some 5th graders who were taller, but Miss Granger seemed like a giant. It was her eyes that did it. They were dark gray, and if she turned them on full power, they could make... I told you I don't know how to read.
It's okay, just keep reading, girl.
They could make you feel like a speck of dust. Her eyes could twinkle and laugh, too, and kids said she could crack really funny jokes, but it wasn't the jokes that made her famous. Everyone was sure that Miss Granger had an X-ray vision. Don't even think about chewing a piece of gum within 50 feet of her. If you did, Miss Granger would see you and catch you and make you stick your gum onto a bright little yellow index card and eat it. I improvised that last part. Then she would safety pin the car. Oh, look, there's a picture of Miss Granger.
She looks like a bad bitch.
She looks like a baller. To the front of your shirt, and you'd have to wear it for the rest of the school day. After that, you
No way!
you had to wear your gum.
Yes! I want to do that! Let's make it a thing!
That's sick! Oh my god. After that, you had to take it home and have your mom or dad sign the card and bring it back to Miss Granger the next day. That's so sick!
Yeah.
Mom, can you sign my gum?
It's for fashion purposes.
And it didn't matter to Miss Granger if you weren't in the 5th grade, because the way she saw it, sooner or later you would be. Is that a threat?
That single-handedly made COVID.
For real, right there. All the kids at Lincoln Elementary School knew that at the end of the line, 5th grade, Miss Granger would be the one grading their spelling tests and the reading tests, and worst of all, their vocabulary test, week after week, month after month. Every language arts teacher in the world enjoys making kids use the dictionary. Check your spelling. Check the definition. Check those syllable breaks. But Miss Granger, I didn't do that in British accent, didn't just enjoy the dictionary. She loved the dictionary, almost worshipped it. Her weekly vocabulary list was 35 words long, sometimes longer. And if that wasn't bad enough, there was a word for the day on the blackboard every morning. If you gave yourself a day off and didn't write one down, and look it up and learn, next page, the definition, sooner or later Miss Granger would find out, and then just for you, there would be 2 words of the day for a whole week. Miss Granger is a bully.
They're in 5th grade. She needs to calm the
30
hell down.
vocab words? I don't even know 30
I don't know
words.
30 words now.
Dude, I must have spell.
I can name one, and that's it. Piss.
Yep. I was right along with you. Miss Granger kept a full set of 30 dictionaries on a shelf at the back of the room, but her pride and joy was one of those huge dictionaries with every word in the universe in it, and the kind of books that it takes 2 kids to carry. What? I've never heard of one of these before. It's
bigger than the Bible.
Nothing is bigger than the Bible.
Yes, there is.
What is it?
The dictionary, and that's it.
Nah, it's Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, man. That is my Bible. It sat on its own little table at the front of her classroom, sort of like an altar at the front of a church. It is the Bible.
It is.
Every graduate of Lincoln Elementary School for the past 35 years could remember standing up at the little table, listening to Miss Granger's battle cry. Look it up. That's why we have the dictionary. Even before the school... Stop laughing!
I'm not laughing!
Jeez, serious. Look it up. It's in the dictionary. Even before the school year started, when it was still the summer before 5th grade for Nick and his friends, Miss Granger was already busy. Every parent of a new 5th grader got a letter from her. Nick's mom read part of it out loud during dinner one night in August. Every home is expected to have a good dictionary in it so that the student can do it his or her...
Whore. She's just like flat out sexist.
She hates women. Confirmed. Homework properly. Good spelling and good grammar and good word skills are essential for every student. Clear thinking requires a command of the English language, and 5th grade is the ideal time for every girl and boy to acquire an expanded vocabulary. And then there was a list of dictionaries that Miss Granger thought would be acceptable for home study. I'm not buying a dictionary. Miss Allen said, "It's so nice to have a teacher who takes her work this seriously." Nick groaned and tried to enjoy the rest of his hamburger, but even watermelon for dessert didn't cheer him up that much.
Wait.
Wait.
This kid is so yes.
This is it.
Watermelon for dessert, and you're not excited about that?
What the heck?
Get a new son.
Adopt another one. Maybe he can appreciate the watermelon. Nick had no particular use for the dictionary. He liked words a lot, and he was good at using them, but he figured that he got all the words he needed just by reading, and he read all the time. What a nerd. When Nick ran into a word he didn't know, he asked his brother or his dad or whoever was handy what it meant. And if they knew, they'd tell him, but not Miss Granger. He heard all about her. He'd even seen 5th graders in the library last year, noses stuck in their dictionaries, frantically trying to finish their vocabulary sheets before English class. It was still a week before school, and Nick already felt like 5th grade was going to be a very long year. She sounds a baddie.
hideous.
Oh,
She does sound like a baddie.
dude.
I kind of want this lady as my
Baddie
teacher.
with the baddie? Oh, is this Goblet?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Yeah. This podcast was sponsored by books. Books. Read them.
No, it's sponsored by the dictionary, actually.
Hold on. Ice break.
Ice break! Ice baby. Impressions so far? Good.
I like it.
Me too. Mm-hmm.
It's a monumental book.
Indeed.
Okay.
Ch-
Chapter 3. The question. The first day of school was always get acquainted day. Books were passed out, and there was a lot of chatter. Everyone asked, what did you do over the summer? Periods 1 through 6 went by very smoothly for Nick. But then came period 7. Miss Granger's class was all business. The first thing they did was take a vocabulary pretest to see how many of the 35 words for the week the kids already knew. Tremble, circular, orchestra, the list went on and on. Nick knew most of them. Then there were handouts about class procedures. After that, there was a review paper about cursive writing, and there was a sample sheet showing how the heading should look on every assignment. No let up for 37 minutes straight. This is communism.
This is communism. Dude.
This is capitalism, I feel like.
This is definitely, it's either one of the
I've
other.
read theory, okay?
Come on, guys. I've read
We're
Percy
reading
Jackson.
theory right now. No, this is theory.
Oh.
This is theory.
This is communist theory?
I think this is capitalist theory.
Oh.
Because there's one person in charge,
Over
a tyrant,
everything. Yeah, she
making
has a
all the
capital.
rules,
This is, you know
make the
what?
kids do stuff for her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay.
This is capitalism.
Nick was an expert at asking the delaying question, also known as the teacher stopper or the guaranteed time waster. At 3 minutes before the bell, in the split second between the end of today's classwork and the announcement of tomorrow's homework, Nick could launch a question guaranteed to sidetrack the teacher long enough to delay or even wipe out the homework assignment. What a baller.
Dude, I need to know what this question is.
Timing was important, but asking the right question, that was the hard part. Questions about stuff in the news, questions about the college the teacher went to, questions about the teacher's favorite hobby or book or sport. Nick knew all the tricks, and he had been very successful in the past. Here he was in 5th grade, near the end of his very first language arts class with Miss Granger, and Nick could feel a homework assignment coming from a farmer? What? Coming the way a farmer feels a rainstorm. Sorry, I'm illiterate. Miss Granger paused to catch her breath, and Nick's hand shot up. She glanced around at her seating chart and then up at him. Her sharp gray eyes were not even turned up to half power. Yes, Nicholas? Miss Granger, you have so many dictionaries in this room, but that huge one especially. Where did all those words come from? Did they just copy from other dictionaries? It sure is a big book. It was the perfect thought grenade. Kapow!
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was epic. That right there?
Now this is epic.
This is epic.
Several kids smiled, and a few peeked out up at the clock. Nick was famous for doing this, and the whole class knew what he was doing. Unfortunately, so did Miss Granger. What a cockblock. She hesitated a moment and gave Nick a smile that was just a little too sweet to be real. Her eyes were the color of a thundercloud. Why, what an interesting question, Nicholas. I could talk about it for hours, I bet. She glanced around the classroom. Do the rest of you want to know too? Everyone nodded yes. Well then, Nicholas, will you do some research on the subject and give a little oral report to the class?
No.
If you find the answer yourself, it will mean so much more than if I just told you. Please have your report ready by our next class.
No.
Miss Granger smiled at him again, very sweetly. It was back to business. Now the homework for tomorrow will be found on page 12 of Words Alive book. Nick barely heard the assignment. His heart was pounding. He felt small. Very small. He could feel the tops of his ears glowing red. A complete shutdown. An extra assignment, and probably a little black mark next to his name on the seating chart. Everything he had heard about this teacher was true. Don't mess around with the lone Granger.
Don't mess around.
Little wordplay there, guys.
Oh my god.
All right, next chapter. My chapters are so much shorter
Why are they
than
so
yours.
short? It's also probably because I read really slow.
Okay. Well, wait. Ice break.
It was a beautiful September afternoon. With Why are you laughing? It was in all caps.
Mm-hmm.
September afternoon. Bright sun, cool breeze, blue sky, but not for Nick. Nick had to do a little report for the next day, plus copy all the definitions for 35 words for Miss Granger. This was not the way school had supported... What? This was not the way school was supposed to work. Not for Nick. There was a rule in Nick's house. Homework first, and that meant right after school. Nick had heard his older brother James groan and grumble about this rule for years, right up until he graduated from high school 2 years ago. He's old. And then James wrote home from college after the first semester and said, "My grades are looking great because when I came here, I already knew how to put things first." That letter was proof to Nick's mom and dad had been looking for. Homework first was the law from September to June. Oh, look, it's a picture of Frindle. He looks so sad.
He looks like he has a lisp.
He kind of does. Wow. Wait a minute. He's making fun of that girl for the beak nose. Look at himself.
Yo, chill.
Oh, anyway. This had never bothered Nick before because he hardly had any homework. Oh, sure, he looked over his spelling words on Thursday nights, and there had been a few short book reports in 4th grade, but other than that, nothing. Up to now, schoolwork never spilled over into his free time. Thanks to Miss Granger. Those days were gone. First, he looked up the definitions in the brand new red dictionary his mom had bought because Miss Granger told her to. It almost took an hour. Then he could hear a baseball game in John's yard down the street, yelling and shouting, and every few minutes the sharp crack of a bat connecting with the pitch. But he had a report to do for Miss Granger. Nick looked at the very front of the dictionary. There was an introduction to the book called Words and Their Origins. Perfect, Nick thought. It was just what he needed to do his report. It would all be over in a few minutes. Nick could already feel the sun and breeze on his face as he ran outside to play. Homework all done. Then he read the first sentence from the introduction. This is a long sentence. Without question, this modern American dictionary is one of the most surprisingly complex and profound documents ever to be created, for it embodies unparalleled etymological detail reflecting not only superb lexicographic scholarship, but also the dreams and speech and imaginative talents of millions of people over thousands of years. For every person who had ever spoken or written in English has ever had in the making. What? Nick scratched his head and read it again. And then again, not much better. Me too. It was sort of like trying to read the ingredients on a shampoo bottle. He slammed the dictionary shut and walked downstairs. Nick's family did a lot of reading, so bookshelves covered 3 of the 4 walls in the family room. There were 2 sets of encyclopedias. The black set was for grown-ups, and the red set was for kids. Nick just use Google. Google it.
This kid
has an IQ of 0. Nick pulled out the D volume from the red set and looked up dictionary. There were 3 full pages with headings like early dictionaries, word detectives, and dictionaries today. Not very exciting, but he had to do it, so Nick just plopped down on the couch and read all of it. And when he finished with the kid's book, he opened the black encyclopedia and read most of what it said about dictionaries too. That's for adults, Nick. Last time I checked, you're like 10.
This is illegal.
And when he finished with I already read that. He understood only about half of what he read. He leaned back on the couch and covered his eyes with his arm, trying to imagine himself giving a report on all this boring stuff. He'd be lucky to have 3 minutes worth. But because Nick was Nick, he suddenly had an idea and it brought a grin to his face. Nick decided that giving his report could actually be fun. He could make it and into something special. After all, Miss Granger had asked for it.
Ooh.
Dude, chill.
Okay.
Chill out. What a baddie.
I think this is the chapter
Baddie
where
with
everything
a fatty.
changes.
Oh, good. Finally. Hey, is this jacket reversible?
Wait till I tell you that jacket is in fact reversible.
No way!
Then you can wear it both sides.
Dude.
Dude, I kid you not. Okay.
Stop lying.
Every time I see that jacket, I'm like, guys, guess what? Okay. Chapter 5, the report. By lunchtime the next day.
See, doesn't it just add more spice?
It does. Nick had a bad feeling in the pit of his stomach. 7th period was coming up. He was going to have to stand up in front of Miss Granger's class. The eyes of everyone in the class would be glued to his face, and Miss Granger's eyes would be cranked up to maximum punch power. He looked over his notes again and again and again. The first English dictionary, the growth of the English language, William Shakespeare, words from French and German, new words, old words, new inventions, Anglo-Saxon words, Latin and Greek roots, American English. It was all becoming a big jumble in his mind. And his grand plan from the night before, in the harsh fluorescent light of the school day, it seemed impossible. But what was with the clocks in school? When you're planning to go to the carnival after school, the clocks in every class practically run backwards, and the school day lasts for almost 3 weeks. But if you have to go to the barber or go shopping for clothes after school, zip! The whole day is over before you can blink. And today, after lunch, periods 5 and 6 went by like in 2 ticks. As the 7th period bell rang, Miss Granger walked into the classroom, took 4 steps to her desk at the side of the room, flipped open her attendance book, glanced out at the desk, and made 2 little check marks. Then, looking up at Nick, she said, I think we have a little report to begin our I think we have a little report to begin our class today. Nicholas? 15 seconds into 7th period, and Nick was on stage. This lady plays for keeps, thought Nick. He gulped, grabbed his crumpled note cards and his book bag, walked to the front of the room. He stood next to the giant dictionary on his little table, and Miss Granger walked to the back of the classroom and sat primly on a tall stool next to the bookcases. She was wearing her blue uniform. Taking a deep breath, Nick began. Well, the first thing I learned about the first English dictionary, Miss Granger interrupted. Excuse me, Nicholas, but does your report have a title? Nick stared blankly at her. A title? No, I didn't make a title. Class, please remember to include a title whenever you prepare an oral or written report. Now, please go on, Nicholas. And she smiled and nodded at him. Nick began again, looking right at Miss Granger while he said, The dictionary. A couple of kids thought this was funny, but Nick played it straight. The dictionary. What a great title. He just kept talking. A lot of people think the first English dictionary was put together in the 1700s by a man named Samuel Johnson. He lived in London, England. He was real smart and wrote a lot of books, and he wanted all the other smart people to have a good dictionary to use, so he made one. But there were other dictionaries before this. The thing that was different about Johnson's dictionary was its size. First of all, he had over 43,000 words in it. The class made a bunch of noise at this big number. Ooh and wow.
Whoa.
And stuff like that. And Nick lost his concentration. He glanced up at Miss Granger, expecting to see those eyes drilling a hole into him. But they weren't. They were almost friendly, in a teachery kind of way. Aww. She shushed the class. I know, she's kind of nice. She shushed the class and said, Go on, Nicholas. That's a fine beginning. Nick almost smiled, but he saw all the other kids staring at him, so he gripped the note cards even tighter and jumped back in. The other thing that Samuel Johnson did that was special was that he chose words he thought were the most important, and then give lots of examples showing how the words can be used for people. For example, he showed how to use the word take could be used in 113 different ways. Nick's report went on smoothly for 12 minutes. Nick was surprised at how easy it was to stand there and talk about this stuff. At the end of the first 5 minutes, Miss Granger had to stop Nick again to say, Class, it is not good manners to yawn out Oh, shoot. Class, it is not good manners to yawn out loud or put your heads down on your desk when someone is giving an oral report. No one in class cared one little bit about the report, except Miss Granger. Every time Nick glanced up, she was smiling, and her eyes were not the least bit icy or sharp. She was eating this stuff up, listening and nodding, and every once in a while she would say, "Very good point," or "Yes, that's exactly right." But the next time Nick looked up, she saw Miss Granger sneaking a look at her watch. 18 minutes gone. Maybe this idea was going to work after all. Time for phase 2. Reaching into his book bag, Nick pulled out a red dictionary that he brought from home. The one most of the kids had. The one Miss Granger said they should use. Nick said, "This is the dictionary that I use at home for my vocabulary work. And I opened it last night to the very front. And right there I found a lot about how the dictionary was made. Right in this book. So I thought some of the ideas would be great as a part of my report. It says here, Nicholas." Nick looked up. Miss Granger got off of her tall stool, and its wooden legs made a screech on the linoleum, the floor. It snapped to attention, and the class was alert again. Miss Granger smiled, raised her eyebrows, and pointed to her watch. "Nicholas, I think the class should read at home themselves. Now," John's hand was up in the air. Miss Granger's nod, he said, "What the heck was that?" John's hand was up in the air, and at Miss Granger's nod, he said, "But I don't have that dictionary at home, Miss Granger. I have the blue one." And several other kids immediately said, "Me too." Hashtag. No, I should say that. Okay. Miss Granger tried to show that she was annoyed. Very well, Nick. But it shouldn't take too long. We have other things to get to today." Nick kept his eyes open wide and nodded, adjusted his glasses on his nose, and began to read. Without question, this modern American dictionary is one of the most surprisingly complex and profound documents ever created, for it embodies unparalleled etymological detail, reflecting not only superb lexical end of story. Mm-hmm. It was a long article. The kids were bored to death, but no one looked bored at all. Every kid in the room knew the period was more than half over, and that Nick's report wasn't just a report. It was one of the greatest time wasters he had ever invented. Miss Granger knew, too. She had edged around from the back of the room to the side near the windows. Nick glanced up at her now and then as he read, and each time Miss Granger's eyes clicked up a new power level. After 8 minutes of Nick's best nonstop reading, her eyes were practically burning holes in the chalkboard behind him. There were only 10 minutes left in 7th period. What a baller!
Dude, how did
this
he do
kid!
That? He be
talking. When he took a breath to start a new paragraph, Miss Granger cut him off. "That's a fine place to stop, Nicholas. Class, let's give him a round of applause for his report." The applause didn't last long. Nick took his book bag and notes and sat down. Miss Granger's eyes went back to almost normal. She actually smiled at him. Although your report was a little long," she paused to let that sink in, "it was quite a good one. And isn't it fascinating that English has more different words than any other language used in the entire world?" Wow. She pointed at her large dictionary. "That one book contains the definitions of more than 450,000 words. Now, wasn't I right, Nicholas? All this will mean so much more since you learned it all on your own." Miss Granger was beaming at him. Beam. Nick sank lower into his chair. This was worse than writing the report. Worse than standing up to give it. He was being treated like the teacher's pet. No! Bad! Horrible! No!
What a nerd.
No! What a geek.
Jeez.
He raised his hand and didn't even wait for Miss Granger to call him. "Yeah, but I still don't get the idea of why words all mean different things. Like, who says D-O-G means the thing that goes wolf and wags its tail? Who says so?" Miss Granger took the bait. "Who says dog means dog? You do, Nicholas. You and I and everyone in this class and in this school and in this town and in this state and in this country, we all agree. If we lived in France, we would all agree that the right word for the hairy four-legged creature was a different word. Chien. It sounds like she-en." Yeah. It means DOG means to you and me. Oh, there's a diagram of a dog.
Oh, how interesting.
Yeah, very
I've never seen a dog
essential
before.
to the plot.
Yeah.
Okay. You and me, and in Germany, they say Hund. And so on, all around the globe. But if all of us in the room decided to call the creature something else, and if everyone else did too, then that's what it would be called. And one day it would be written into the dictionary. We decide what goes into that book. And she pointed to the giant dictionary, and she looked right at Nick and smiled again. Then Miss Granger went on. But of course, that dictionary was worked on by hundreds of very smart people for many years. So as far as we are concerned, that dictionary is the law. Laws can change, of course, but only if they need to. My British accent is getting worse and worse.
I love it.
I'm trying to do an old woman, too.
Oh, you're trying to like make it sound...
Yeah.
Dang.
I'm trying to sound how Miss Granger would sound.
I like
This
it.
isn't my British accent. Okay, let's just
okay.
get that clear.
I'm sorry.
Bim,
Yeah.
this isn't my British accent.
This
is not my British... This is not...
That sounds like an American accent
Shut
to
up.
me.
Shut up.
Okay.
There may be new words that need to be made, but the ones in that book have been put there for good reasons. Miss Granger took a look at the clock. 8 minutes left. Now then, for today you would have done the exercises beginning on page 12 of your Words Alive book. Please get out your papers. Sarah, will you read the first sentence, identify the mistake, and then tell us how you would correct it? Miss Granger jammed the whole day's work into the last 8 minutes. A blur of verbs, nouns, and prepositions. And yes, there was another homework assignment. Nick didn't even try to sidetrack Miss G again. He had slowed her down a little bit, but had he stopped her? No way. She was unstoppable. At least for today.
Oh, for today.
He's plotting.
He's got something
Ice
up
break.
his sleeve. Ice break. I'm excited, guys. All right. Chapter 6, The Big Idea. 3 things happened later that same afternoon. You okay?
It's just really funny when you read reading the one in caps. In caps.
That's how it's supposed to be read.
Mm-hmm.
Nick and Janet, oh, I ship it, had missed the bus because of the school newspaper meeting, so they walked home together. They were seeing who could walk along the curb without falling. It took a lot of concentration, and when Janet stepped off into the street, Nick said, "That's 3 points for me." But Janet said, "I didn't fall. I saw something. Look." And what am I saying? And she bent down and picked up a gold ballpoint pen, the fancy kind. That was the first thing, Janet finding the pen. Ooh, whoa. They got back on the curb, and Nick followed Janet, putting... What?
I'm trying to muffle the
You're
sound.
like-
I'm trying to muffle the sound of my chewing.
It's okay, it's fine. And Nick followed Janet, putting one foot carefully in front of the other on the narrow concrete curb. And while he stepped along, he thought back over the school day, especially about his report, and what Miss Granger had said about the words at the end of the period finally sank in. That was the second thing, understanding what Miss Granger had said.
Oops.
Ooh. She had said, "Who says dog means dog? You do, Nicholas. You do, Nicholas," he repeated to himself.
You do, Nicholas.
You
do. Just then, Nicholas curled up into a little ball and started rolling back and forth in the middle of the street. In the distance, he heard the of a car, and bam! Nicholas was squashed into the ground like plankton from SpongeBob. The end.
Nicholas has died.
Rewrite.
Press F to pay respects. I do? Nick. Is that the door? Okay. I do? Nick thought, still putting one foot in front of the other, following Janet. What does that mean? And then Nick remembered something. When he was about 2 years old, his mom had bought him one of those unbreakable cassette players and a bunch of sing-along tapes. He had loved them, and he played them over and over and over and over. He would carry the tape player to his mother on his big brother. What? He would carry the tape and the player to his big brother, or his mother, or his father, and bang them together and say, Gwagla, 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 until someone put on the cassette in the machine and turned it on. And for 3 years, whenever he said gwagla, his family knew he wanted to hear those pretty sounds made with the voices and instruments. Then when Nick went to preschool, he learned that if he wanted his teacher and the other kids to understand him, he had to use the word music. But gwagla meant the same thing to Nick, because Nick said so. Who said gwagla means music? You do, Nicholas. Not fair, yelled Janet. And they were at the corner of their street, and Nick had bumped into her, completely absorbed in the thoughts. Janet stumbled off the curb, and the gold pen in her hands clattered onto...
That would have been a real plot twist.
Plot twist! The book is over. Clattered onto the street. Sorry,
The pen shatters. End of story.
What else is he supposed to do? Okay, sorry... ... I didn't mean to. Honest, said Nick. I just wasn't watching. Here. Nick stooped over and picked up the pen and held... Jeez. And picked
Sorry, it's Garrett.
Garrett, what are you doing? Oh, no, Garrett. Stooped over and picked up the pen and held it out to her. Here's your... And that's when the third thing happened. Nick didn't say pen. Instead, he said... Here's your Frindle. Frindle? Janet took her pen and looked at him like he was nuts. She wrinkled her nose and said, "What's a Frindle?" Nick grinned and said, "You'll find out. See you later." Whoa. It was there at the corner of Spring Street and South Grand Avenue, 1 block from home on a September afternoon. That's when Nick got the big idea. Aw, look, there's a picture. Janet's ugly.
Are you shaming Janet?
Janet is so ugly.
She's a strong woman who's good at soccer, Bim.
No, but why is she standing like that?
I don't know. He looks like this looks like a biblical painting.
It does, like the way that it's like shining and what the heck?
Frindle.
Wow, this is it, man. And by the time he had run down the street and up the steps through the door and upstairs to his room, it wasn't just a big idea. It was a plan, a whole plan, just begging for Nick to be put into action. And Action was Nick's middle name. Whoa.
Nick Allen Action?
Wouldn't it be Nick Action Allen?
Wait, Nick Action Allen?
It kind of rhymes. Or it flows. The next day after school, the plan began. Nick walked into the penny pantry store and asked the lady behind the counter for a Frindle. She squinted at him. "A what?" "A Frindle, please. A black one." And Nick smiled at her. She leaned over closer and aimed one ear at her. "You want a what?" "A Frindle." And this time, Nick pointed at the ballpoint pens behind her on the shelf. "A black one, please." The lady handed Nick the pen. He handed her 49 cents and said, "Thank you," and left the store. 6 days later, Janet stood at the corner of the penny pantry. Same store, same lady. John had come in the day before, and Pete the day before that, and Chris the day before that, and Dave the day before that. Janet was the 5th kid and Nick had sent there to ask the woman for a Frindle. This is genius, not gonna lie. And when she asked, the lady reached right for the pens and said, "Blue or black?" Nick was standing 1 aisle away at the candy rack, and he was grinning. Frindle was a real word. It meant pin. Who says Frindle means pin? You do, Nicholas. Wow. Half an hour later, a group of serious 5th graders had a meeting at Nick's playroom. It was John.
He has a playroom?
Heck yeah.
I want to be friends with this kid. I'm sorry for making fun of him. This man got a playroom?
We used to have a playroom, except we called it the game room. So it was more gamer. It was more epic. And Nick. That's 6 kids, 6 secret agents. They held up their right hands and read the oath that... This is a cult. This is capitalism.
This is capitalism right here. The
Guys,
Capitalism Manifesto.
This is capitalism right here. And
Karl Marx wish he could do this.
The oath that Nick had written out. From this day on and forever, I will never use the word pin again. Instead, I will use the word Frindle, and I will do everything possible so others will too. And all 6 of them signed the oath with Nick's Frindle. The plan would work. Thanks, Miss Granger.
Pog.
Next chapter. Ice break! Guys, get your ice. Ice.
Wow, we're running out of time.
I know. I told you it was going to take forever.
It doesn't matter. Oh, we only have, 10 more pages till we're halfway through.
Okay.
More like
stop.
20.
That's like 2 chapters.
2 chapters, yeah.
We got it.
Okay. We got it, gamers. We're going to stay a little after class today.
Stay after class. You'll
Stay after class.
You'll learn something.
You'll learn so many. School was the Sorry. Chapter 7, Word Wars.
You okay?
Word Wars. That's hard. Try to say that.
Word wars? I said it first try.
School was the perfect place to launch the new word. Since this was a major historical event, Nick wanted to begin in exactly the right... I can't focus. I can't focus while you're doing that.
Sorry.
Stop. Okay. School was the perfect place to launch the new word. Since that was a major historical event, Nick wanted to begin with exactly the right class. 7th period language arts.
Heck
What
yeah.
a baller.
Dude.
Nick raised his hand first thing after the bell rang and said, "Miss Granger, I forgot my Frindle." Sitting 3 rows away, John blurted out, "I have an extra one you can borrow, Nick." Then John gave a big show of looking for something in his backpack. I think I have an extra Frindle. I mean, I told my mom to get me 3 or 4. I'm sure I had an extra Frindle in here yesterday, but it must have taken it out. Wait, oh, here it is. Sean's an idiot.
I thought his name was John.
I said John.
Oh, I thought you said Sean.
Same thing. Then Sean John made a big show of throwing it over to Nick, and Nick missed it on purpose. They made a big show of finding it. Miss Granger and every kid in the class got the message loud and clear. The black plastic thing that Nick borrowed from John had a funny name, a different name, a new name. Frindle. There was a lot of giggling, but Miss Granger turned up the power in her eyes and swept the room into silence. The rest of the class went by according to plan, her plan. As everyone was leaving after class, Miss Granger said, "Nicholas, I'd like to have a word with you." She emphasized the word word.
Wow.
Word. I'd like to have a word with you. Nick's mouth felt dry. He gulped, but his mind stayed clear. He walked up to her desk. "Yes, Miss Granger? It's a funny idea, Nicholas, but I will not have my class disrupted again. Is that clear?" Her eyes lit up, but it was mostly light, not much heat. "Idea? What idea?" asked Nick as he tried to make his eyes as blank as possible. "You know what I mean, Nicholas. I'm talking about the performance that you and Sean John gave at the start of class. I'm talking about this." She held up her pen, an old maroon fountain pen with a blue cap. "But I really don't have a Frindle with me." "But I really didn't have a Frindle with me," said Nick, amazed at his own bravery. And hiding behind his glasses, Nick kept his eyes wide and blank. His glasses?
Did you not see the picture?
I did, but I forgot. This is a poor kid.
He is such a
This
nerd.
poor kid.
For real.
Miss Granger's eyes flashed and then narrowed. Her lips formed a thin, hard line. She was quiet for a few seconds, and then she said, "I see. Very well. Then I guess we have nothing more to discuss today, Nicholas. You may go." "Thanks, Miss Granger," said Nick, and he grabbed his backpack, headed for the door. And when he was stepping into the hallway, he said, "And I promise I won't forget my Frindle again. Bye." Baller!
Dude.
Baller!
Oh my god.
Baller.
Alright, chapter 8. Mightier Than the Sword. Ice break. 2 days later, the photographer... Are you okay? I'm just reading the book, man.
It's just really funny.
I don't know what you're... Anyway. 2 days later, the photographer came to take...
Okay, go on.
To take the class picture. The 5th grade picture would be taken last, right after lunch. That gave Nick and his secret agents plenty of time, and they even whispered something into the ear of every 5th grader. All the individual pictures had to be taken, and finally it was time for the group picture. Everyone was lined up on the auditorium stage, everyone's hair looked great, and everyone was smiling. But when the photographer said, "Say cheese," no one did. Instead, every kid said, Frindle! And they held up one for the camera to see. This kid ruined the picture that these parents are paying for.
Baller!
Hey, let's get it, Nick. The photographer was out of film. Nice. So that's the only picture. So that shot was the only 5th grade group picture he took. 6 of the 5th grade teachers were not pleased, and Miss Granger was furious. No one had really wanted to make the teachers that mad. It was just fun. It also got all the kids in the school talking about the new word. And when people pick up on a new word, they say it all the time. The kids at Lincoln Elementary liked Nick's new word a lot, but not Miss Granger. The day after the class picture, she made an announcement to each of her classes, and she posted a notice on the main bulletin board by the office. Anyone who is heard using the word Frindle instead of the word pin will stay after school and write this sentence 100 times. I am writing this punishment with the pen. Miss Granger, that is capitalism right there.
That is capitalism.
Who says there can't be another word for pen?
Yeah, for real!
Why is she so pressed?
I know!
It's not that deep, Miss Granger. This is the alternate universe in The Cursed Child when Harry is killed. This is what happens. This is what happens to Hermione. But that just made everyone want to use Nick's new word even more. Staying after school with the lone Granger became a badge of honor. There were kids in her classroom every day after school. It went on like this for a couple of weeks. Dang.
I would do it. Would you join the class?
I would join the class. Are you kidding? Cause, not class, idiot. One day, near the end of 7th period, Miss Granger asked Nick to come talk to her after school. This is not detention, Nicholas. I just wanted to talk. Nick was excited. It was kind of like a conference during a war. Jeez, chill, man. Why are you comparing this to war, dude? Nick is a war criminal confirmed?
Dude, if you mention war and don't mention Ulysses S. Grant,
It's
over it.
Over. One side waves a white flag, and the generals come out and talk. General Nicholas Allen. Dang. I thought it was... General Nicholas... Action Allen. Nick liked the sound of it. He stuck his head in Miss Granger's doorway after school. You wanted to come talk with me? Yes, Nicholas. Please come and sit down. When he was settled she looked at him and said, Don't you think this Frindle business has gone far enough? It's just a disruption to the school, don't you think? Nick swallowed hard, but he said, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It's just fun, and it's really a real word. It's not a bad word, just different. And besides, it's how words really change, isn't it? That's what you said. Miss Granger sighed. It is how a word could be made up brand new, I suppose. But the word pen? Should it really be replaced by that other word? The word pen has a long, rich history. It comes from the Latin word for feather, pinna.
Yep. Pina.
It's not.
Can you pass me the pina?
Can I get a pina?
Yo, can y'all pass me the pina?
I got you.
Blue or black?
It started to become our word pin because quills were made from feathers. Because quills made from feathers were some of the first writing tools ever made. It's a word that comes from somewhere. It makes sense, Nicholas. But Frindle makes just as much sense to me, said Nick. After all, didn't someone just make up the word pina too?
Period!
For real!
Nick is on some next level, John.
Nick is kind of a genius. And Nick looked right in her eyes and said, oh wait, that got a spark from Miss Granger's eyes, but all she said was, then you're not going to stop this? And Nick looked right in her eyes and said, well, a bunch of my friends and I took an oath about using the word. Why would you admit that? And we have to keep our promise. And besides, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I like my word. Nick tried to look brave, like a good general should. Very well, then. I thought it would end this way. Miss Granger, she's gonna pull out a Glock.
Miss Granger pulls out a Glock and aims it between his eyes. Say your last words, Nicholas Action Allen.
Frindle.
On the spot.
Nick,
Rewrites, Andrew, rewrites.
Nick just died. Miss Granger pulled out a fat white... Why'd you gotta say fat? Why is he fat-shaming this envelope? Miss Granger pulled out a fat white envelope from her desk and drawer and held it up. This is a letter I've written to you, Nicholas. Nick handed out his hand, thinking she was going to give it to him, but she didn't. I'm not going to send it to you until all this is over. I want you to sign your name and put... Oh, look, there's a little picture. Mm-hmm. That is a fat envelope, y'all. I would take that back.
He was right, ma'am.
Batty with a fatty right there.
Double cheeked up.
For real, on a Thursday afternoon. Today's date across the back of the envelope. When you read it, whenever that may be, you will have to know it's the same. You will know it is the same letter, and that I have not made any changes to it. This is weird, Nick said to himself. But to
no, he said out loud.
Out loud.
Whack.
This is weird.
Okay, Queen.
But sure. And he signed his name in the best cursive and put the date under it. Then Miss Granger stood up abruptly and said, "That is all for today, then, Nicholas, and may the best word win." Gee, this is war. She is pulling out a Glock next. There was a frown on her face, but her eyes were different, almost happy. And Nick's was halfway down the hall before it hit him. She likes this war, and she wants to win real bad. Yeah,
period!
A little bit wants to win too much. Walking to school the next day, Pete had a great idea. How about we see if we can get every kid in the whole 5th grade to go up and ask Miss Granger, "Can I borrow a Frindle?" "You mean Miss Granger, may I borrow a Frindle?" said Dave. Got to use the correct grammar. Don't want to upset Dangerous Grangerous. That's a funny nickname.
That's good. Who said that?
That was Dave.
Dave. My boy Dave.
David is a baller. Sounds good to me, said Nick. She can't keep everyone after school, can she? Almost 80 kids stayed after school. Guess she could. Jeez. Almost 80 kids stayed after school with Miss Granger that day. They filled her room and spilled out into the hallway. The principal had to stay late to help, and they had to arrange 2 special late buses to get all the kids home. Jeez. And the next day, all the 5th graders did it again, and so did a lot of other students. Over 200 kids. Parents called in to complain. The school bus drivers threatened to go on strike. Oh my god.
Yo, this is capitalism.
Guys, we're witnessing capitalism.
Guys, this is theory. We're reading capitalism theory right here.
We are. And then the school board and the superintendent got involved. And about this time, the principal of Lincoln Elementary School paid a little visit to the home of Mr. and Mrs. Allen. She wanted to talk to them about their son, the one in 5th grade, the one named Nick. Nick Action Allen. Is that halfway?
Chest. No, there's one more.
Oh, okay. That's good. One more chapter and we're done. Mm-hmm. For today.
Sorry, ice break.
Ice break. I hope it doesn't end on a cliffhanger. Can you imagine?
I don't think it does. But the next, I think, chapter after this, the one we're going to start next week, is, I think, my favorite.
Oh.
Yeah, it is. Yes. Yes. Okay, yes. It's my favorite chapter because it's like the biggest big baller moment ever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ice break. Get excited, guys.
Chapter 9. Chess. Queen's Gambit.
Yo, the Queen's Gambit.
Okay. Miss Margaret Chapman had been principal of Lincoln Elementary School for 18 years. She knew Mr. and Mrs. Allen because they had all served together on the building committee when the old Lincoln School was torn down and the new one was built 6 years ago. Guys, this could be us.
Dude, this could be... Why can't we just do that?
Come on, Bullen. We got this.
Literally.
If we can work together, Bullen, let's go.
I'll build it myself.
I'll build it with my own 2 hands.
Mm-hmm. I got bricks.
I got a hard hat.
There we
Let's go.
That's all we need.
When she telephoned on the afternoon of October 1st to set up the meeting, Miss Chapman had asked Nick to be there too. It was 6 o'clock when she knocked, and Nick opened the door. "Good evening, Nick," she said. No smile. "Hi, Mrs. Chapman," said Nick.
Is this allowed?
Yeah, for real.
Can principals just
His
show up at your
house? No.
No.
Hi, Mrs. Chapman, said Nick, backing away as she filled the doorway. She was a large person, as tall as Nick's dad, with wide shoulders. Nick guessed that she would play linebacker on a football team because that's what his dad had played in college.
Wow.
Yo, chill, look at this picture.
Oh my god, she is a large woman.
Yeah.
She's really tall.
She is very, very large. Nick's outfit kind of bussin'.
I'd wear that.
I would wear that.
I would wear that.
Nick's outfit bussin'. Okay.
For real.
What is this a picture of?
Oh my god.
It looks like a
Nick
clown.
is a baby, but it looks like... Oh my god.
I'd punt that baby.
In the face?
It looks like a baby, but like if a baby went to clown school really early in its life and then became a dog.
It makes sense.
Yeah. Hello, Mr. and Mrs. Allen, she said, stepping into the living room. She was wearing a long black raincoat with a red scarf tied loosely around her neck. She kept her coat on, but took off the scarf and tucked it into her pocket. She shook hands stiffly with both of Nick's parents before sitting down on the chair to the left of the couch. Nick's mom and dad sat on the couch, and Nick sat on the rocking chair that faced Miss Chapman across the low coffee table. This is not an easy visit for me. We are having some trouble at school, and it appears that Nick is in the middle of it. Then, while Nick's parents listened, Miss Chapman laid the story as she saw it. Nick encouraged other kids to use this new word, Miss Granger forbidding it, the ruined 5th grade class picture, hundreds of kids staying after school, and the general feeling that there was a rebellion at school, and no one was respecting the rules anymore.
It's not that deep.
It's not that deep. What are these people doing?
It's a word.
I say the word pog at school.
And no one
bats an eye.
For real.
Okay. Nick watched his mom and dad while Miss Chapman talked, looking from one face to another. His dad was listening carefully and nodding and frowning. He looked embarrassed about the trouble, but his mom looked kind of annoyed. And when Miss Chapman finished her story, Nick's mom was the first one to speak. But doesn't all this seem a little bit of fuss about something really silly? Thank you, Nick's mom!
For real!
Thank you, Mrs. Allen! Oh my god.
Queen.
Nick sat up quietly, but in his mind he shouted, "Hurrah for mom! Hurrah for mothers everywhere!" That just fixed sexism right there.
For real.
Misogyny is dead.
Right
the
there.
Patriarchy is
over.
His mom wasn't annoyed with him. She was annoyed with Miss Granger, maybe even annoyed with Miss Chapman. This was getting interesting. Miss Allen was still talking to the principal. I mean, is there really any harm in the children making up a funny word and saying it? Does there have to be a rule that the word like this may not be used? Miss Chapman sighed and said, "Yes, I suppose it does seem silly, but Miss Granger thinks it's rather like keeping children from saying ain't. There have to be standards."
I ain't gonna say ain't 5 times because ain't a word. Ain't that right?
Mm-hmm. Okay. That's why we have dictionaries, and really, the problem isn't so much the word itself, it's a lack of authority. Mr. Allen said, "Miss Granger's right about that. There have to be standards. We can't have kids walking around saying ain't, can we?" Yes, we can!
Ain't that wrong?
I just said the word bussin' 5 minutes ago. Shut up, Mr. Allen. That's when Nick piped in. You know that big dictionary in Miss Granger's room? The word ain't is right there in the book. I looked it up. There it was.
What?
Period. And I don't see why I can't use the word if it's in the dictionary. Miss Granger said that her big dictionary was the law. Period. Queen.
Real.
Mic drop.
Yep.
Nick looked from face to face to face. That stumped them all. Hell yeah, it did.
Yeah.
He had just launched the first-class thought grenade. A first-class thought grenade. Mm-hmm. Well, yes, but, as I said, the word ain't, and even the word Frindle, these are not the real issue here, said Miss Chapman. Mrs. Allen said, "Well, I think the real issue is Miss Granger's reaction to a harmless little experiment with language. It's an overreaction, don't you think so, Tom?" said Mrs. Allen, looking at her husband. Yeah. It was Mr. Allen's turn to look from face to face to face. He was lost. "Yes, well, sure, I guess so. I mean, it's not like anybody's been hurt. It's not like vandalism or stealing or something. It's just that wasn't my acting. There were literally, ellipses and dashes. That wasn't just me. Okay, guys?
He's stuttering. He's
stuttering.
He's scared.
He's
scared of.
He's scared. His middle name is in Action.
I know.
Okay, he definitely Alan gets that side from his mother. Okay.
For real.
Yeah. Did you know his mom's maiden name is Action? Nick Action Allen. That's the official lore of Frindle. Yes.
No way.
Guys, is there a Frindle subreddit? If so, is there a Frindle Discord?
Can I join?
I'ma join it. Okay. Miss Allen's... his sentence trailed off, and he rubbed his chin and stared thoroughly through the window on the wall behind Mrs. Chapman. And while their 3 grown-ups sat there in an uncomfortable moment of silence, Nick had a sudden vision of what was really going on here. It was a chess game. Nick against Miss Granger. Miss Granger had just tried to end the game by using her queen, Mrs. Chapman, in her black raincoat, the Black Queen. Nick didn't know it until the attack was underway, but he had a powerful defender of his own. Good old mom, the White Queen.
Escalade.
I don't think the White Queen is a good...
I feel like you could have said it better.
Yeah.
It's okay.
It's okay. Andrew rewrites.
Andrew, we understand.
Andrew, we
understand
what you're trying to say, man. We get the sentiment.
Don't worry.
We'll just edit this out.
Yep.
I think we should do a podcast where we just read manuscripts. Like, we become a publishing company, and we read manuscripts, and, like, people comment down below if they like it and if we should publish it.
Yeah.
We are a publishing company. Okay. Where was I? Oh, I was here. I was at the White Queen. White Queen.
Wait.
And the game was not over. It would go on until there was a winner and a loser. Miss Chapman didn't stay much longer. There was a little more talk back and forth across the chessboard about how children have the right to explore new ideas, about the importance of respecting teachers and the work they do, but everybody needing to keep out the standards and make a school a safe place to learn. Then, Mr. Allen offered Miss Chapman some coffee and banana bread, and she said, "No thanks, I really must get going now." She thanked Nick's parents, and they thanked her. Nick opened the door and said, "Good night, Mrs. Chapman," and the Black Queen put on her red scarf and walked into the October twilight. "Nick, I think we'd better talk a little bit more about this," said his mom, sitting back down on the couch. "If I find out that you have been disrespectful to Miss Granger or any other teacher at school, then you really will be in big trouble, mister."
What the hell?
You're in big trouble, mister. I haven't been disrespectful. Honest. He says that way too much.
Honest.
Pick a new word. Use bussin'.
For real?
It's a great word.
Use it.
I did get everybody starting to use my word, but like you said, it's not hurting anybody, and I'm sorry if me, Dave, and Pete got everybody to ask Miss Granger to borrow Frindle. That was mean, I guess, but she started by making the kids stay after school and write 100 sentences just for saying one word once. All the kids like to use my word. It's just fun, that's all. "Well," said Nick's dad, "if it gets anyone upset and makes the principal come talk to your mother and me, then it must not be fun for everybody, isn't it?" Yep. "And I think you should just tell all your friends to knock it off right now. I mean, tomorrow." Nick shook his head. "I can't, Dad. It won't work. It's a real word now. It used to be just mine, but not anymore. If I knew how to stop it, I think I probably would. But I can't," said Nick, looking at both of their faces, seeing the idea was sinking in. It was. "Like I said, I won't be disrespectful, but I do like my word. And I guess now we're going to have to see what happens." And the chessmen, Nick's queen and king, had to agree. The game would go on.
Dude.
That's it.
Wow. Yeah, that's a good conclusion. That's a good
That's a good place to stop. Yeah.
We're about to
talk about the chess.
Talk about chess?
Talk about chess.
So in the Queen's Gambit, this girl is addicted to drugs. The green
so
ones.
Many drugs.
All the pills.
The green ones, not the orange ones.
Not the orange ones, just the green ones. And when she takes them, she can see chessboards on the ceiling.
Yup, it's a great game. I really have to use the bathroom so bad. I had too much ice.
That's okay.
I had too much ice. Guys.
Ice check. All right. On that cliffhanger, I hope you guys really enjoy thinking about this. I hope you start using Frindle in your own.
I'm going to start using Frindle.
I think I will too.
Me
Hey,
too.
can I borrow a Frindle?
Yeah, let me go get one real quick.
Actually, no. Can I borrow a Pina?
Oh, yeah. Let me go get one real quick. I'll go get one.
I'll see ya.
I'll see